Welcome to the Setbreaker Podcast, and today we have a very special guest. We got my friend Juan Cias.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey,
hello,
how you
world.
doing, man? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Yeah.
Well, before we continue, we got to say this. You're a mortician.
Yeah. Right off. Let's just get right into it. Hell yeah.
Yeah, mortician. Yeah. Fuck everything that you are.
Right.
We only care about mortician. I mean, you even have the hair of like Undertaker too.
Thanks, man. I was going for that look, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean it fits. It looks really good on you, man.
Thank you, brother. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I'm really curious about you being a mortician and anything related to that because I've never really had a deep conversation about this with anyone. That does this stuff.
That's what I'm here for, man. Fucking talking about death constantly.
Yeah, I know, constantly, man, especially after. People just die though. Isn't that we live and we die.
Yeah, that's it. It's very finite. It's very like just fragile. But I mean, yeah, no, that's what it's a crazy thing, man. Yeah. So I'm always open to people. Always like, I'm sure you're sick of talking about it. It's like, but nah, dude, like I'm not, because it's like this. It's crazy, the whole concept of life and death. So like, I'm always open to talk about it, get people to think about it, because dude, we got to think about it, man. You know.
Yeah, because normally you get asked enough questions about any type of occupation, they're going to be like, but it's different when you're like in an office doing taxes versus dealing with bodies and a life that used to breathe and laugh and have a personality, right?
Yeah, it's that and just all the nuances that go along with that. A grieving family member, grieving friends, and just like, just all of it. It's all the intricacies, man. It's very. It's not for everyone. It's not for the faint of heart doing this sort of work, but I love it.
Mm-hmm. So how many bodies have you? This sounds like freaking like assassination. So right. How many bodies have you?
My body count is.
Yeah, what's your body count?
Body count. I do the numbers. I'm coming up to probably 4,000 corpses that I've seen. Yeah, at probably somewhere in that area for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've seen 4,000 dead bodies.
Yeah. All at once. No, I'm just kidding. No. About 4,000, and throughout my years. So we normally, most places I work at, we do an average of like 250 to 300 a year. So like that times the years I've been doing it, like 18 years, whatever. I don't know what the number is right now, but last time I checked, it was around 3,000, probably 35. So
holy moly.
Yeah.
Okay, so so since you've done about 4,000. Are you pretty used to it now? And used to it, I don't even know what that means.
Right.
If you can,
There are certain aspects, like I'm used to the actual body parts for sure. Like I've seen some mangled stuff and I've seen some pretty gnarly stuff, and that I'm kind of used to. It's the emotional story behind it a lot of times that is just like, that's the part you never really get used to, because like you hear random stories. Like I've been doing it for a while, man. I work with different families, and like I'm like, all right, I think I've heard or seen just about it, and then it's like something new. Nope, something new comes in. And it's like, fuck, dude. And the next thing you know, you're just it can be hard. It can definitely, never really fully get used to it.
Okay, so then it's like, it reminds me of like the America's Got Talent. Right, because I know this is a horrible comparison, but the story of the contestant, is more important than like their singing ability, because plenty of people can sing phenomenally, right. But then the story is the thing that pulls at the heartstrings, is the thing that gets us attached to the people, is the thing that gets us invested, right? So that also is a thing why that affects you. Because we're human, and the story is the thing that draws us in and can emotionally hurt us too, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. A lot of situations that are just, it's very sudden or unexpected. Like just things happen, and then the people that are left behind trying to pick up the pieces, and you meet with them, and they're just like totally, you can see that they're in shambles, and it's just like, dude, there's certain. And you have other situations where it's like, they're an elderly person, lived a full life. We're ready for this. So it's definitely seeing the different aspects of everything. But then even some of the older folk, when you hear their stories, it's like all the things they accomplished and stuff in their life. It's like, it's incredible, man. It's like, so definitely it's the stories that are behind it that are really kind of make it special.
So when you hear accomplishments, like what do you mean? Like they did...
Like I had one guy recently, I guess he was an elderly guy, or I mean, he was a teacher, and then after teaching, he retired from that. He went on to become an actor, and like he got some roles, but then on top of that, he built his own sailboat, like from his by hand, and then sailed to Hawaii. And just like, so you hear all these like, wow, these amazing stories from
people. Is he a white guy?
Of course he's a white guy.
Only white guys do stuff like that.
Right, dude? And like they're like, Yeah, he got lost while sailing to Hawaii. I was like, of course, man. You don't want to pull over and ask for directions.
Something about white people, they love like building things by hand, like taking things back to caveman or like savage days, and then they love getting lost.
Right? Yeah, dude. Fucking that submarine, man.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm afraid to get lost. I'm like, dude, my way of getting lost is like I need to change things up, and I'm like, I'll take a little different turn here at this street, and then that's like a 10-second difference. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this is like exploratory for me. So then I want to go to the mangled stuff. So when you say mangled, are we talking like there was an accident, like maybe they jumped off a building and they exploded to pieces? Because I learned, and tell me if this is true, in movies when they jump off buildings and if it's like fucking like 30 stories and they hit the floor, they're in one whole piece and they have like a nosebleed and maybe a pool of blood. But what I heard is that when a human body actually hits the floor from a height like that, it can technically like explode like a watermelon into pieces. Is that true?
Yeah, if depending on the height, the gravity will just take a hold, and when it hits, it'll splat. And sometimes parts fall off. Crap. But yeah, that can be common. But a lot of times, I've seen situations like that. Yeah, heads kind of caved in. We had a prisoner one time. The guy got thrown off a building somewhere, and then his head completely collapsed in. Like a lot of situations like that where suicides. I mean, just a lot of just random situations. We just see parts and stuff like that. That part I got kind of accustomed to. Like it's messed up as it is, but it's like that's a part of a traumatic life. I mean, I don't know. It's messed up, but I'm that part I've kind of grown accustomed to, man. It's gross, but I kind of look forward to them. That's why I got into the business, honestly, man, because I was always a morbid person. I was like, I want to see some crazy shit. And I seen some crazy shit, bro. So now it's like, all right, now I'm respectful of it, but definitely, I still kind of like, all right, let's see what kind of damage this did.
No, I get it, man, because like I've had fantasies of being like a homicide detective and like trying to figure out a scene with like blood splatter and like weapon used and
Yeah, it's always like and we see there's certain times where it's a pending investigation. Like there's situation where the person may have killed themselves, but then like the husband's kind of like I don't know, like kind of shady about the whole thing. It's like, did this fucking guy kill his wife? Like
he's not even crying. He's like, oh no.
Yeah. So there's definitely a situation where I like to kind of like do my own little personal digging in where I can, what information I can, and it's like, oh, this guy totally killed his fucking wife.
Dude, you're kind of like, when you were saying that, it reminded me of all those dudes in the movies or like the TV shows where like you look like a CSI, like the guy that's on a computer and like, all right, no, let's dig extra deep. I'm not the main guy going in and like, oh, let's look at this shit. But then you're like, no. I think I know what's going on. Let me do the things that these guys aren't saying. Yeah. And you help solve the crime.
Yeah, there's been random situations. I mean, I wasn't involved, but I had coworkers that they would go to pick up a body, and like, because when a person passes away unexpectedly, typically the coroners would take them into their care to do what they have to do, investigations, autopsies. But if they were seen by a doctor previously and they have there's a medical history, they'll release them directly to us. So we had a situation where they went to go pick up the body and like they're moving it and there's blood everywhere and they're kind of thinking, okay, maybe from a fall or something. But when they move the body, there's a gun there. So then they had to like stop everything, report it to the police, and it became a full-on investigation. So
so if the gun wasn't there, it'd just be like, all right, let's just move the body.
Yeah, just move the body. But because there was a gun there, it's like, oh, because they didn't do their job and checked thoroughly. Fucking yeah.
How do you not find a gun?
Right? Yeah, it was under the body. They just didn't want to move it. And it's like, come on, man, come on. First day on the job.
So why would they not want to move it though?
Some people, that's one thing. Some people are creeped out by bodies, man. That's a big part of it. And there have been situations where I have to like move the body or ask sometimes, like, there's police on the scene. I need a hand, and they're like, nope. Like it's like, bro, like.
Oh, even the police will go, no, I don't want to?
Yeah, they're freaked out by it as much as everyone else. Yeah, dude.
See, I didn't know that. I thought cops were like, we do everything.
Depends on the person. But there's definitely a good amount of them that they're freaked out by it, Yeah.
Everybody's human at the end of the day, right?
Exactly, man. Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. Okay, so how long did it take you to get used to seeing mangled bits? Like where would it be like bah, in your face, like, oh my God.
I had one situation where the guy he was a homeless guy. He was down at the river bottom, And somebody complained, like one of the neighboring homeless people complained of a smell. So we get the guy into our care. It turns out he had been dead for at least probably 2 or 3 months. He had just been really badly decomposed. He was in 2 disaster pouches. Those are the black bags. Normally they're just regular bags, but he was in 2 of the heavy-duty black bags. And on the outside of the second bag, there was this maggot crawling. So I knew, I was like, as soon as I open up this bag and I look at him, which I have to do, there's going to be a shit ton of maggots. So I opened the bag up, and there was just like a fucking sea of fucking maggots that came falling out of the bag.
Oh.
And the smell was just so putrid. And then I went to go look at his face just to kind of look I remember lifting up the little towel that he had on his face, and that was the first time I really got fucking shocked to my core. Like I was like, holy shit. And I dropped the towel, and I was just kind of like, I was taken aback for a second. But then I was like, all right, let me look again. And I looked again, and that's when I was like, after that, I was like, all right, fucking dude. Yeah, ever since then, I haven't really been freaked out by him.
Okay, so can you explain to me, when you lifted the veil, right, and then you saw the guy's face, what did it look like to make you go, what the fuck?
His eyes were there was no eyes. It was just completely sunken in. It was half it was in the process of decomposition, where it was just very spongy. And the person was just like, it was just completely just black and just rotten meat. And then just the maggots that were crawling, there was like maggots crawling out of his mouth. His teeth were fucking brilliant white because all the maggots were fucking cleaning up everything, man. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was, and just the smell and just everything. It was just that level of decomp I've never seen before.
Damn. So from that point on, you were like, you know what, dude? Everything's chilling.
Yeah, from that, it's like, yeah, dude, I can't get much. And I've had situations more like that, but I'm like, this is what it is, man. It's going to be a smell.
Okay. And what does it smell? What is it like?
When they're bad of level of decomp, it's a just putrid. That's the only way to really describe it. It stings, like you can just, it permeates everything. Like you bring them into the prep room in the back, you'll smell it on the far side of the funeral home because it's everywhere, and like you can't really get rid of that smell. Even after you get rid of the body, it takes a couple of days for the kind of air to clear out of there, man. Because it smells like really rotten milk and just sweet. There's sometimes it's kind of
sweet?
It's kind of a sweet smell to it because it's just so like putrid that it has like this weird smell.
Oh, like it's changing to like from milk to cheese almost.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like it's like a fine one.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, I just imagine you sneaking a little piece of them. You're like, oh, cheesy.
Look
nice.
at the marbling on this meat here.
Yeah, you're like pizza. Look at Jesus pizza right there. Okay, so it's like a hot, like almost like a hot putrid, like, you know what I mean, like heat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially when there's heat involved. That's when it breaks down fast and just it's gross. Yeah.
Are you used to the smell?
Yeah. That one thing I've gotten used to. There's been some places. I mean, some people in the movies, you see them put the little thing over their nose, the little cream or whatever. That's for pussies, bro. Give me that shit straight.
You raw
dog that shit, bro.
Yeah, I'm not scared. So do farts bother you then? If you smell farts? Okay, let me ask you this. Does a fart bother you more stench-wise or that smell? What are you more used to?
Depends on what, who's committing the fart. Like, what is their diet like,
Yeah.
But no, for the most part, I'm used to the smells, man. Yeah.
I'm learning so much. This is why I'm very excited. I don't know. People that are watching this are probably like, this is the biggest we've seen Mike's eyes get. Because I've always had a fascination with death and the whole process. And, I don't know if it's because I had grew up in like a, rough, kind of somewhat violent like home where I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, all right, okay, let's see what the fuck is out there. Like, I love action movies. I love gore and blood, in anime too. Like I used to like seek that stuff.
Yeah. That's kind of a lot of people are like that. Most people I feel are like that. Crime podcasts and all that stuff. People love hearing them. People love this shit, dude. So yeah. Some up there like in the front lines of it almost. So definitely it's crazy though. It's crazy.
Okay, so the homeless dude whose face was all fucking like decomposed. When you have to work with a body like that, because what you also do as a mortician is you do the embalming process and everything too, right? Is that
now,
you? Or?
I used to apprentice embalming. I do some of it, but ultimately that's one thing I didn't really fully get licensed for because I did enjoy a lot of it. Like sewing, I sewed a body back together the other day. Like I enjoyed doing that part of it, but it's the injecting of the chemicals, the finding of the vessels to embalm is really freaking hard. And that for me was the formaldehyde, the smell of the formaldehyde. I can smell the bodies all day, no problem, but it's that formaldehyde smell that really started to bother me. So
I mean, it's poison basically, right?
It's basically poison, yeah. And so smelling that constantly was like, so I don't do that part. I do all the follow-ups and some of the prep for that stuff, but the actual embalming part, I was like, I'll let the professionals do that part,
Okay.
I do everything else. I do the cosmetics, like I said, everything. I dress the bodies. I do everything else, but just the actual.
So dressing,
cosmetizing them,
like the makeup to make them look.
Yeah, the makeup, and then actually go picking them up at the scene. So I do everything but the embalming. But yeah.
Okay, so now when you said that you enjoyed the sewing up process, kind of like Dr. Frankenstein, right? Like what about that is enjoyable to you?
It's very like when we get cases back from the coroner's office, they always do that Y incision, and
Y incision.
They when they do the autopsy, they do incisions on the chest. It's a big Y, so they have a line up here, a line in this way, and it connects in the middle, and they go down this way.
So on each side of the pec, and then down the solar plex towards like the abdomen, and then it's like they kind of fillet it open.
Yeah, they fillet it open. They cut off the ribs, and so they can get in there and get all the organs and stuff out. So it's my job to then put that back together. So I used to enjoy putting Humpty Dumpty back together, man.
Okay. I see.
Like putting it all back together, because they just do a crude, they just barely sew it back up to get it to you, because that's our job to do that part. And something about sewing them all back up, and just like when you're done, they're all like nice and neat back to almost how they were. It's like, it's soothing. I don't know what it is, man. It's soothing.
No, I think that has to see. I believe that has to do with every human. We like we like aesthetics and organization, and symmetry, and neatness, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's like an extreme version of that, but it's still there. Like, every human likes watching, like a train or car crash. You know what I mean, dude? I pulled a guy out of a car on a freeway that was upside down. Like he almost got killed.
Yeah.
Because cars were coming towards him, but couldn't see him because it was sideways and perpendicular to traffic.
Yeah.
And it was nighttime, and it was on a freeway. There was at least 5 cars that like either slowed down or completely stopped in the freeway. This one guy stopped in the middle of the freeway to take a photo.
Jesus Christ.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, there's something about, that doesn't have anything to do with neatness. But you know what I'm talking about? No, something about like destruction and then creation and then things coming back together. Like, like the whole, does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
I think that's a thing that that's all within us to a degree. So when you say that, or puzzles, putting puzzles together, that's like like almost like a puzzle or something.
Yeah, no, it definitely it's something about it's very soothing. Yeah, I enjoy that part of it.
Yeah. So it's got to be like a meditative moment almost.
It is
like a focus. That's what I meant to say.
Absolutely,
and now it just sounds like I just bragged about pulling a guy out of the car. But guys, I did pull a guy out of a car.
He's a fucking hero.
Just saying, I'm a hero, guys. I'm a hero. Forgive me for all my sins. Okay.
Yeah, but it is very therapeutic. I'll go back there, put on some like classical music or sometimes like some Radiohead, and just get in the moment. Just it's a very intimate moment between me and this body, and just getting them back together, making sure they look okay for their family to be able to see them one last time.
Damn.
So yeah, it's a very
that's deep, dude, because you're doing like a huge thing for the people, because that's like a final moment for them. So that's like a very emotional, intimate moment for them. So you're doing like a big thing. You know? That's like giving back to society, I would say.
It is. It's a very, because there's sometimes the last time they saw their loved one was on the floor with the all the paramedic stuff, and they're just so sometimes they just want to see them one last time looking peaceful. So I like doing that and make sure they look as peaceful, make sure they look as natural as possible. And families come in and they just see them like one last time as they should be, and so it's nice to give people that closure. Absolutely.
Damn, no, that's beautiful, dude. Yeah, I think this is kind of like the unsung heroes of the world. I really believe that, because I never really even thought about, who's the ones doing it, or like what they think about when they're doing it, or that they care. Not saying that they don't care, but we just don't think about it. We're so focused on they're dead.
Yeah. And then I'm focused on, also like, fuck, they're dead.
God damn, they're dead as fuck.
Now I gotta fucking work on this, Yeah.
So, okay. So then there's a coroner, there's a mortician, and then the embalmer, or who's the
embalmer?
Embalmer. Okay.
Embalmer.
What's the specific roles of each person?
Sure. So sometimes the old school, the mortician is also the embalmer. But like now, for the most part, they kind of separate what they do. So the coroner is the one who picks up the body. They're the ones that work for the state. They're the ones that perform autopsies and cut them all up. And a lot of times there's a doctor there to do all that, to help assist and direct all that. Mortuaries, the morticians, a lot of times we deal with the families and make the arrangements, do the actual funeral services and do all that. Embalmers are the sick fucks in the back. They're normally the ones like we don't ever, for the most part, we don't bring them up in the front. Oh, really? They're normally the ones, those goth kids you see and stuff like that.
With the crazy hairstyles.
With the crazy hairstyles, and they just always have a weird personality. You don't really want them interacting.
They drink pig blood. And
you don't want them interacting with the public for the most part.
Okay.
But yeah, but again, there's the old school guys that everyone, it's all encompassed. But yeah, the embalmers are the ones that are just in the back working on the actual bodies and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, so maybe the chemicals also make them like a little extra loopy, right?
They're always naturally kind of just weird, man. But I mean, we need them.
That's true. I mean, in my mind, I imagine that like some white chick with purple, pink dyed hair, and then kind of buns on the side, each side of the head, like Princess Leia. Is that
you just described? I think her name is Jamie. No.
Oh, yeah, Jamie.
Jamie. No, definitely. That's a lot of different people for sure. That's typically just the stereotypical embalmer and stuff like that. But yeah, no, they're much appreciated. So
they say that there's some kind of correlation between death and like getting horny. Right?
Yeah. I've yet to fuck any of the customers.
Right. Oh wow, it's still kind of like big, the boobies. No.
But I mean, definitely there's situations where I feel like you feel like when they're in mourning, they don't know how to know what to do. So sometimes you feel a deep connection with the living people that are attached to the situation. But you'll get kind of a vibe. But it's like I never act on it because you never know. It's weird.
Yeah. Because I remember Wedding Crashers. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Didn't they go to the funerals? Because this is where they played.
This is the new thing. Yeah, it's like weddings are. Yeah, now it's funerals.
yeah. Because in like heightened emotional states, it's tension, right? And then you need tension release.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people don't know what to do, so they're like, I just need to fuck this out. So I imagine that after like, actually, so when I had one of my grandmas die recently, there was a girl that I was hooking up with. Like it was like the next day, and she was sucking my dick, and then I was kind of there in my car, and I was just there, and then all of a sudden, I just started crying. I started bawling. I was like,
she's like, it's that good, huh?
Yeah. And then she's like, are you okay? I'm like, and then she just hugged me, and my pants were down, and my dick's still like kind of up, and I'm just like, it was like a funny thing. And after I finished crying, I was like,
all right, finish.
Thanks. Yeah. I was like, let's continue. And then I lasted longer.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Dude, thanks, man. I think I just need to cry every time before so I can last. I think that's the secret. That's like Viagra.
That's the secret right there. Yeah, cry. Get a good cry in, and then
Yeah. I feel like that's kind of like why there's like that whole like the goth scene and the dark stuff. Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of fucking going on with that.
Oh, I imagine. Yeah, it seems like it. Out of that, they're nerds and they don't do any of it. So
true. But nerds are the horniest though.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like super nerds that don't really get out and talk to people. I feel like.
Oh yeah, they're just waiting. They're fucking edging constantly.
They're just mentally edging. Like fuck, I can't wait. Just pre-cum dripping all day. 24 fucking 7. Okay, so you've been a mortician for doing that for like 18 years.
Yeah.
And how long you been doing comedy for?
Comedy, I'm coming up on 9 years. This July will be 9 years.
Okay, so then that's halfway through your career, right? That you decided, let me do comedy. So what made you want to jump into comedy from that?
The stories I would hear from people, man. Like everyone had these amazing life stories, and I'm just like, fuck, I want to start doing something else besides this. And I've always wanted to be a comedian. At one point, because of the mortuary stuff, I had to start going to therapy. And I remember like going to therapy, and he was just like, well, what else have you ever want to do in my life or with your life? And I was like, I always want to try stand-up. He's like, so why don't you? I was like, because you need like agents and stuff, right? Don't you have to? He's like, no, there's open mics. So I was like, oh yeah.
So your therapist was like, dude, you can go to open mic.
Yeah.
He helped lead you to.
Yeah, he led me to it, and then from there, like I did my first set, and it felt great, felt very therapeutic, and then from there, it just took off. When I first started doing the comedy, I didn't do any mortuary stuff. I didn't let it be known that I was a mortician. But then when I talked to people, I remember talking to the bartender, my first time was with Flappers Burbank, Justin, I can't remember his name now, but talking to him, he was just like, oh, what do you do? And I was like, oh, mortician. He was just like, you're going to talk about that on stage, right? I'm just like, nah, man. It's just, like, I want to be respectful of it. But then after a while, I realized, holy shit, there's like a land, like a gold in them hills, you know?
Yeah. I don't meet morticians.
Yeah.
Especially that do comedy, like ever.
Yeah. There's like one other guy I know of up in Sacramento named Morty Stein. Love that guy.
That is a very mortician name.
Yeah.
Morty the Mortician.
He's basically, I'm almost positive that Bob's Burgers wrote that fucking, that
yeah,
thing
Bob's Burgers.
after that guy particularly.
So, going to therapy and all that helped you a lot?
Yeah, that helped me a lot, for sure, man. I feel like everyone should kind of go, particularly myself. I needed to go to therapy, man. It's just all the stuff I would see. So it's been good. I learned some good grounding methods and stuff and how to just be okay with things. So yeah, it's been great.
So when you say to be okay with things, what are the things that you would not be okay with?
I mean, just constantly seeing the bodies. I mean, it has like a just subconsciously on the surface level, I feel fine. Yeah. But then there's a lot of situations, just really tragic stories and stuff like that. And then like, I try to leave it at work, but some of the stuff you can't just leave at work.
The stories are more haunting than anything.
Oh yeah,
than images of.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Sometimes those stories, like I've had a lot of crazy stories. And I just had to just sit with that, you know, and like, and I don't really. There's only so many people you can talk to about that sort of thing, and so yeah, when I started going to therapy, I mean that helped immensely. Just being able to talk about that sort of stuff and just I
remember, for some reason, I just remembered. You posted on your Instagram. It was like some baby clothes. I forgot what we were like DMing each other about it. What was that? What happened with that? You
said it was a union all. Those are little plastic. You know, when someone's badly decomposed or leaking and they still want to have a viewing, they have little plastic suits that we put on people, and one of them were for babies. You know,
like, I don't know. They made ones for babies.
Yeah, they come in all shapes and sizes. Death comes in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah, and then with you for doing, seeing so many dead bodies, hearing all these stories, how has that changed your outlook on life?
I'm definitely, I'm constantly appreciative of every moment we have, man, because like I always close with my joke on this, but appreciate every moment you have, dude, because we don't know, next moment's never guaranteed, man. It's just like, so just enjoy these moments, learn to just be happy as much as possible. Don't take shit seriously. That's one thing with a lot of comedians, they get this ego and they start getting butthurt over certain things. Like, dude, none of this matters. This is just like, whatever you need to do to bring yourself peace of mind and just be happy and enjoy yourself, then fucking do it, dude. Who gives a shit, dude? Do those drugs, drink that beer, fucking like, I don't know, man. It's definitely, I'm appreciative of all the things, man. Just of everything, of like I went to Hawaii recently, just like seeing all this life and just biodiversity, all these birds. I'm just like, dude, this is fucking incredible. Look at this fucking bird. Like, it's just like little stuff like that. I'm appreciative of all that stuff, man, for sure. Even the death, when you see certain bodies and just like the way they sometimes they look very peaceful, like they're just sleeping. Other times they're just like they saw death coming, and it's like all of it's just like there's beauty in everything, man, for sure. That's one thing I've kind of learned to appreciate.
Yeah, so even when you would look at the corpse and you're taking care of it, you're like, there's a beautiful moment here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting a little emotional right now because I've been avoiding this because like I wanted to bring it up like 15 minutes ago, but like I'm afraid to cry.
No, you're good.
But I think I'm just gonna say it. I should say it. I should run towards the fear. So if I start to tear up and cry a little bit, or do like the guy thing, like that. Right. So like when my last grandma died and I saw her body there, and then like she had like a little bit like of a dry nose thingy right there because her body was dead for like 2 hours, but it was still like warm on majority of it. So like I got to hold her face in my hands, and like I just kept saying involuntarily. Well, at first I screamed at the top of my lungs. I've never done that. I've had my dad die. I've had other people die, but this one like hit me different, where like I was like screaming, like in the movies where like somebody gets killed, but like murdered, and they're like, yeah, like that. Like I've always watched that, and I was like, okay, like I feel it, but like I don't know.
Yeah.
And then like I involuntarily screamed at the top of my lungs for I don't know how many minutes. just like like that, right? And then I got real closer. I was holding her face, and this is not by choice. I just kept saying, "Oh, beautiful, my beautiful grandma, beautiful, so beautiful." Even though I saw the death, and I saw like the dark, like a dry kind of nosebleedy thing that was kind of like on the inner nostril. Like it was like one of the most beautiful forms of her, which was like kind of surprising to me, because a lot of people, or even me, would go, I don't want to see them like that. I want to see them in like life. But seeing her like that was like a different form of beauty. So when you say that, like I get it, that there is beauty in that. It's weird. So do you feel like that? Do you feel connected like that to that point? I mean, obviously you don't like personally know them, but there is like a moment.
Oh, absolutely. Every single time, whenever I'm handling the bodies, I was always very respectful. Whenever I'm moving them and whatnot, I'm always trying to make sure to hold their head, and just because it's like, this is someone's loved one. Yeah. This is a person who used to live and breathe and just have a beautiful soul and stuff like that. So there's always that moment where you feel like just a connection with people, man. Like even when they're dead, it's just like to just kind of, this is going to be me, like in the future. So like, I want to treat this person with the respect that I would want to be treated with.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. That's like the highest level of empathy of like, this is going to be me. I'm not going to be here. So like, like at what point did it 100% sink in that, dude, like I'm going to die? Like we all know we're going to die, but we don't really think about it or feel it until we get to a certain age or something happens to us or whatever. Like for you, that has sunk in, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah. I think more recently, more than anything, I've had, people close to me pass away, and I'm starting to realize I'm getting to that age now. And that when
how old are you?
I'm 38, going to be turning 39 this year.
That's young. But you've seen enough different ages, right?
I'm constantly filing death certificates, so I'm just like, if I'm lucky, I'm a little over halfway point.
Dude, actually, I was just thinking about this on the weekend. So I started freaking out about the fact that, dude, I'm going to be 35 in the summer. That's like 4 months from now, and I've been in comedy for 5.5 years. I'm still like struggling to like quote unquote make it and figure it out and the finances and stuff, and I'm just like, dude, am I gonna just be like a 40-year-old fucking loser with no like stable career and still grinding for his dreams and all these things? I'm like, fuck, what am I doing? And like I'm gonna be middle-aged, and then I went, wait a minute, who's to say that is middle age? Because that's if you live to 80. My dad died 53.
Yeah.
And that was a car accident.
Yeah.
Same with like Nick Lanning, like rest in peace.
Yeah.
But like, who knows what's going to happen to me? So just like you said, that I see. So you saying that's not like a morbid, sad thought. It's more of like a realistic thought of, this is a fucking thing that could really happen. Yeah. And if that's the case, I should live my life as if it's going to happen, because it is going to happen.
Yeah.
Possibly sooner than later, right? Is that how you're thinking?
Yeah, exactly, man. You just never know when that moment's gonna come. So like, just enjoy these moments. If you don't fucking make it, dude. Like when I got into comedy, I was like, my goal is to just make a room full of people laugh. So I'm fucking happy, dude. Whatever happens of it, I'm grateful for the moments and like that positive, that happy moment after, when you just kill it on stage, bro, and you get off. It's like, I live for those moments, man. If something comes of it and I have a fucking full blown career, fucking awesome. If not, fucking I had those moments of happiness, man.
Yeah. And you're doing the thing that you want to do, because not many people even have a thing, right? Because I didn't start doing this until 29. Yeah. And I'm 34. So people could say I started late, but the reality is like when I started that, it was like I was able to breathe for the first time, and it felt like, because I always had like a low grade misery and depression because I was just not happy with life and stuff, and this is like the first time I made a decision for myself. So in a way, if it's like, just like the middle-aged thing or whatever, for me, it feels like I only was really alive. My true life was for 5.5 years. Yeah. To a point. So that's like another way to look at it. So that's why I've been having these mental reframes in my mind of like the same thing you're saying. If I can, as long as I make them laugh and there's a connection and that's a beautiful moment, that's what it is. Because the idea of making it in life, whether it's comedy or not comedy, if we say, I'm not going to be happy until this, that could never happen. And if it does, then it's still not enough, because then you have another level of making it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why you can't take away the joy from today to like, dude, enjoy the moments, man. Enjoy these moments. If something, like I said, if something comes of it, beautiful. If not, fucking enjoy that moment you had at that time. You know, like you made people laugh and people came up to you. Oh man, that was, you know, like that's like the best feeling ever, man.
The worst feeling is when they go to everybody and said, "Dude, you're so funny," and then they just ignore you, or you're the funniest one, and you're just standing there like, okay, can you look at me at least or something? Why are you telling them? Like, you know,
I've had that. I mean, people like, especially older folks, I scare them. They'll just walk past me, and it's like, it's fine, don't worry. Like, I'll see you soon.
Yeah, because you talk about being a mortician and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So when the old people see you, they're like, this is the death angel. They're like, fuck, this guy's gonna take my life.
Right? Yeah, I represent. Yeah, people get scared sometimes, but it's fine.
Well, when you actually have a conversation with an older person and they find out that you're a mortician, do you see a shift in their demeanor? Like they're like, oh fuck, this guy is gonna.
Yeah, I mean, particularly what comes to mind when you mention that, when I go to old folks' homes to go pick up bodies, a lot of times I'll walk in first in the suit and then kind of check in with everyone. Everyone's always like, "Oh my god, look at you! They're so handsome. You're one of the doctors." Well, you know, like they're like I'm like, hey, I'm like super sweet. And then I go back out and I grab my gurney and I walk back in with the gurney. Then you see them like, so for sure in those moments. But other people, the elderly, actual like they're healthy and everything like that. They're respectful of it. You know, they're respectful of it. They don't really see their shift change. Sometimes more just to a positive side. They kind of like, oh well, I need to respect this guy even more. But yeah, those old folks at the old folks' homes, it's always interesting to see. But I thought we were cool. Like, I thought I was handsome.
Yeah, it's an omen. Oh, yeah. Stephanie, it's your time.
Right.
Why me? Damn. No, there's always some kind of there's always been like a mysterious allure to people that work at the funeral homes. You know.
Yeah.
You know, for the few times I'd be there, I would just see people and I'm like, why are they here? Who are these people? Even if they're just at the front desk, like doing reception stuff, I'm just like, what's going on? Like, are they sad all day? Like, I don't understand. You know, I would think these things.
Yeah. And in answer to your question, yes, we're sad all day.
Oh, I mean, you guys have to be like cracking each other, joking and around.
We're in the back, cracking jokes. That's why some of the worst jokes, you know, like are made because you have to learn to laugh at that situation. Otherwise, we'll fucking go crazy back there with sadness, dude. So we always have to make a joke about something, you know, respectfully, but still like, hey, look at this guy's dick, you know? Like,
it is true about Asians. Look at that. So you probably I know we talked about this before off camera a while back, but so when you've seen all kinds of bodies, right? You've seen ugly people, and you've had to see really attractive people where you were like, dude, they were hot when they were alive. Yeah. But what is it like when you see like an ugly person that's dead, you're like, all right, you're dead. Yeah. But then I feel like if they're super hot, you're like, I mean, you could have been something. Because, you know, every time you see, like on Instagram, they put a photo of somebody passed away. Nobody cares about the ugly person. Every time they're super hot, like a girl that's super hot, they're like, oh, they have so much to live for. It's the pattern is always in the comments. So, so like, what is it like when you see a dead body that's like still? I mean, obviously it's dead and it's still kind of gross, but you're like, it's like, you know, it's hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like logically, it's hot. Right? Like, what is that like when you see that?
It ultimately they becomes like just like the ugly people do, because they were beautiful in life, but once they're dead and you see that the life out of their eyes, it's kind of like. It is a shame. There's always there's I've had people where it's like, man, what a waste. Like, yeah, that must sucks. That would have been fucking smoking hot. But
smoking hot.
But I mean, as soon as they're dead, it's just like, all right, you know,
there's nothing we can do.
In the pile. No.
Let them join the rest of them.
Right? Yeah, dude. It's definitely it's sad, man. Especially when a situation like that. And normally overdoses or something like that. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, hot people overdosing.
Yeah, it is the thing to do.
No, I know. I feel like a lot of hot people, they a lot of them get into drugs because when you're not hot, you have to try to be better looking. So your focus in life is, how do I be more attractive? How do I get my personality better? How can I be just good enough to lose my virginity or even find somebody to like love me? But when you're already so hot and that's not really the issue, now you start looking for other issues and you're like, fucking confused even more, and then you get into drugs or something like that.
I think for that part, it's like you're hot, so then now everyone's like, how do I get this girl to have sex with me? Oh, let me give her a bunch of drugs. And And next thing you know, they're fucking, they're hooked on
which happens. I mean, a lot of these like fucking guys be doing some fucked up shit,
Yeah.
I mean, shit, I could have died. I was doing drugs pretty heavily for like a while. Like I'm lucky I'm here,
Yeah, dude, it's a crazy thing. We've had a lot of spikes in overdoses because of the fentanyl. So that's a pretty I've learned to kind of step away from those hard drugs, like anything powder form or anything like that. It's like, I don't fuck with it, man, because you never know.
Yeah. So what would you say? Like, what percent of the deaths do you feel like that you've seen personally went up due to like the fentanyl epidemic? It was a spike for sure. I mean, we would get overdoses, a couple times a year, but then during the fentanyl, it actually happened right around the same time as the pandemic. Yeah.
Because people were just having to stay in, so they're just doing more drugs. It felt like we saw like I would normally get like overdoses in a year, on average maybe 6 or so. At one point, we had I think 30 within maybe a 3-month period.
Oh, shit.
It was just a huge spike suddenly out of nowhere.
Younger people, a lot of younger.
Typically, the ages from 16 up to maybe no older than 35.
That's young, dude.
Yeah, and they were all young, and there was just one of them, good friend, his son, God rest his soul. He had been diagnosed with cancer, and he had just beat it, and then he went and just to go celebrate, did some drugs, and
man, that's the fucking worst.
Yeah, dude.
Shit.
So yeah, a lot of stories like that where it's like, or sometimes the families, they don't realize that their children were on drugs, and then they get very I'm gonna press charges against the person that sold the drugs, which they absolutely should, but it's they took that on their own ultimately, and that's the decisions they made, and it's it may have been their first time that you know of, but it's that's still a decision they made, and yeah, it's sad. It's fucking, and it's fucking sad, dude, because it's you try to steer your kids right and try to teach them right, but it's ultimately they'll fuck up once, and it's it's fucking super tragic, man. Get to those ones a lot. Those are the ones that always really hurt for sure.
I just imagine you being on a date and you just spill out all this stuff out of nowhere, and they're like, oh wow, that's So you're in a relationship right now, right?
No, I just
were in a relationship?
I was in a relationship, but just got out of the relationship early this year. That's one of the things that's been kind of fucking with me mentally, because I try to get on the dating apps and shit like that, and it's dude, it sucks, dude, because I'm being a more and also I put on there I was a mortician and a comedian. Zero fucking. I was nobody, dude. So I was fuck, and I realized, is it the mortuary part? Is it the comedy part? But then ultimately, I don't know how to connect with people anymore, dude. It's weird.
Really?
Yeah, especially with women, I'm you have nice skin. It's just weird.
Yeah,
man.
it would be easy to put your limbs back together.
You look like you embalm really well. It's creepy, dude. So I don't know. Yeah, I gotta start working on myself and just being more relatable. But.
So it's really because of the mortician stuff, the way you talk in that environment. It's so normal to you that it doesn't. You forget.
Yeah, and some people aren't used to it. That's why I need to find me a cool little goth chick that's just is totally into that sort of shit.
Yeah, that's foreplay for goth girls.
Oh yeah, right, dude. It's you want to see a dead body? Fuck yeah.
Yeah. You're hey girl, your eyes look kind of sunken today. Oh my god. You want to have sex? No, that's interesting though, because I feel like that as a comedian, because I've always felt like the black sheep and kept trying to fit in. I mean, anybody that goes into comedy felt like that, right?
Yeah.
And then you try to fit in and talk a certain way because people think you're weird, and you're like, dude, I don't think this is weird. This is normal, just this talking. And then you meet comedians and you're like, okay, now I found my people, because they're not judging you for the way you talk, because they're talking the same way, where there's no real filter. And that's an appreciative moment. But then you start to hang out with people that don't do it, and you try to kind of talk, and you can connect to a point, but then you're just why are we tiptoeing around this shit? Why don't you just say that you fucking hate her guts? Yeah, just say that thing. Say that you stuck a pinky up your ass. Stop. Right. Or, say you're gay. Stop hiding that shit. Just say what the fuck. Just say what the fuck it is. Stop putting a filter over things, and that's the stuff that drives me crazy, which makes me have a hard time, just almost to the point where I'll be more quiet around certain individuals that aren't in that space, or that aren't that aren't Marines, or Marines, they've seen shit, they have no filter. So people that are in certain worlds, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of times I'm in the same boat. I can't to see people's petty little things, as you know, and it's like I'll just sit back and observe, you know, just kind of like just listen to what they have to say and kind of you know like
judging like, oh God, really, come on guys, grow up, like that.
Yeah. But you know, it is what it is, man. Everyone's living their own journey, you know.
No, you're right. Okay, so then when you say it's hard to connect, is it because of just like what you say or what you're talking about, or is there some other factors involved?
For me, it's not so much what I'm like. It's their lack of awareness, or just their like how they're focused on things that aren't important. You know, they just don't have that deep connection. Like I'm better with people who have gone through traumatic situations, because like then like okay, they're awake now. They fucking know. Like they now they have a deeper understanding and a deeper appreciation for life. When people don't have that, it's just like. It's like talking to a brick wall for me sometimes, man. It's like this fucking person, you know, they're fucking worried about, you know, this their bills or their car or their rims, and it's like, dude, get the fuck out of here, dude. You know, like
they haven't gotten unplugged.
Exactly.
You know, from the Matrix.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I do believe that because I feel the same way. I connect very well with people that have a very traumatic past. You know, like I have a very traumatic past too, with like the things that happen in my household and the home and everything.
Yeah.
And there is like moments of awakening. And there's a way you can talk to these people too, where, like you said, awareness comes from trauma, dude. Really, it is. Yeah. And then looking into the trauma versus ignoring the trauma and trying to suppress the trauma.
Yeah.
Right? We should run towards that fear. And then you'll learn more about yourself, you know?
You learn to just, embrace your life story, man. Embrace the things that happen to you. Don't try to avoid them. I mean, do what you can and try to be healthy about it. That's the main thing. Because some people, to avoid it, they turn to drugs or alcohol, and then they're just now drug addicts and alcoholics and stuff like that, because they didn't want to face that, come to terms with what the reality is, you know. But we have to.
Yeah, that was me. That's why I was doing drugs and binge drinking. I would get blackout drunk like 3 or 4 times a week.
Oh man,
you know, I was like driving and chugging a bottle of vodka on a freeway.
Fuck, bro.
I know, I was doing crazy shit. Like people can't see me doing that now, but like I used to fucking do all, you know.
Yeah.
I was never sober for like a couple of years. I was always high on something, pills and whatever.
Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. And then it wasn't until I stopped that it was like a rush of, it was very overwhelming, you know, all the emotions that I was hiding or running away from. But eventually it levels out, because you adapt, you get used to it, but you have to sit through that. You just have to sit in the ocean where it feels like you're drowning, and you have to almost let yourself get to the point where you're like, I'm gonna drown, but you're not gonna actually drown. You just have to have faith that it will level out, because it will eventually, even if it takes longer than you would like.
Yeah.
You know?
Everything works out the way it's supposed to, because ultimately, in the end, we all die, and that's the, you know, like, so it's like you'll have a lot of struggles, a lot of trials and tribulations before that, but as long as you don't give up, like, because suicide, I mean, that's one thing. Like, I understand some people, but it's like, man, don't do it, like, because shit's gonna fucking change, and maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but you'll still have that quality, you still have life. People don't, like, there's a lot of people that wish they had that, you know, like people that fucking, like, God rest his soul, like Nick Laney. It's like, dude, that guy fucking beautiful soul, and it's like, and it was robbed from him, dude. So it's like, so when I see people give up, it's like, dude, don't fucking give up. Like, shit gets bad, it could get worse, but you still have fucking life, dude. And like, you always have an opportunity to change it around, whether, you know, emotionally, financially, physically. Just like, you always have that opportunity, but, you know, fucking to keep going, as long as you still have, you know, life, as long as you still have breath in your lungs, you know.
It can always get better.
It can always get better, dude. Yeah.
So when you were talking about that just right now, I felt like emotional passion coming from you when you were talking specifically about the suicide thing. Is it because the stories behind the bodies you've dealt with that had to do with suicide, or is it because of some personal experience too, where, you know, in your life or something? More
from the stories I've heard. Thankfully, I haven't had anybody close to me take their own life.
Yeah.
Because that's like, you're not just damaging, I mean, you're not just ending your own life, you're ending a lot of other people's lives, because they, you know, like family, your mother and shit like that, those people fucking loved you, and like there's friends and stuff, and like they didn't realize, they never told me, or like, you know, like, so it's like you're damaging a lot of things, because you're removing yourself from the equation, and it's like, it's not fair, not just to you, but to everyone you know, and it's like, it's a very selfish thing to do. Again, there are situations where it's not selfish. I had one family, it was a younger guy who took his own life, but the family was like, yeah, we knew this was coming. We were kind of okay with it, because he had written this whole like manifesto.
Oh shit!
And they read it, and they realized, okay. In other situations where they're just diagnosed with something and they don't want to go through the suffering because they know it's going to end painfully, I had a nurse who kind of like got her affairs in order. She knew what she wanted to do. She went and rented a hotel room, took the right combination of pills, left a note on the door on the outside, fucking for the nurse or for the home, the housekeeper to kind of find. So stuff like that I can get. But I mean, when ultimate other situations, over a girl or something like that, it's like, bro, like.
Yeah. The girl thing is like, yeah, that one's like, dude. I mean, we've all kind of thought that, like, fantasized, because we have like these like dramas we play in our head and shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, and it's like, dude, you're fucking like 17. She don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, no, the situations like that, man. It's always like, it's like, it's sad, dude. It's always a bummer. So, yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself. I mean, sometimes I feel like now when I think about killing myself, it's because I just don't want to work. Like,
right?
I don't actually want to kill myself, but I'm like, dude, I'd rather kind of just die.
Right? It's normally that's
out of laziness.
Dude, that's literally like whenever I do the same thing. When I'm thinking about it, it's like it's never I'm on a high or I'm on a low. It's always like, fuck, I'm gonna have to go to work right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but when it really comes down to it, it's like, I actually made a list not that long ago, because I was like kind of, I had 2 grandmas die recently back to back, like 3.5 months. And I started like questioning all my decisions I made. I'm like, what am I doing in my life? Blah, blah. And I started like getting in a rabbit hole. And I was like, dude, I just want to like, it'd be nice to just kind of go away. It's too much work to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So then I started, I went onto Google Docs, and then I just wrote down a list of the different ways I could off myself. And I was just, I was like, all right, let's break this down. All right. Okay, if I get a gun and put it to my head, that's very messy, and that's also very violent, and then it's gonna be rough for my family. And also, I have to buy it, and I have to go out of my way. I'm like, okay, that's exhausting. Like, and then I was like, all right, like, slit my wrist with a knife. I'm like, okay, I'm afraid to do that because like I paper cuts hurt. I'm like, fuck, I have to do that. And that's messy too. And then I'm just gonna sit there, and then what if I regret it and I'm slowly watching myself bleed out? Then I have to go through the embarrassment and regret of like, fuck, right. 911, what happened? I'm bleeding out. Why? Because me. What happened? Yeah, and then jumping off a building. I was like, all right, if I jump off a building, like, okay, well, it's gonna have to be at least like fucking like a 20-story building, because I don't know if a 10-story building gonna kill me. But even like a 20-story building, you've heard people survive even from like a failed parachute from a skydiving. So what if I just live paralyzed the rest of my life and I'm out of a breathing tube and have to suffer? Then I'm really gonna want to die, but I can't die because I fucking can't move my arms to kill myself, and I can't. And swallowing your tongue is too hard to do. So like, what am I gonna fucking do? Then I'm stuck in an imprisoned case. So I was like, fuck. And then after I went through that, and then I just went, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, I actually had to face the reality of
you walk yourself back from the ledge.
Yeah, because otherwise it becomes this fantasy, and I think the fantasy of it is what allows you to continue to get depressed versus when you get smacked with the reality of what it really is. And that to me was the reality of the process and what could happen. And I'm just like, okay, I don't want to die that bad. Like, this is just like a thing, It's like it's fucking fantasy bullshit.
Yeah, I think most people I feel like go through that at some point. Just have that random fantasy where it's like, but ultimately it's just never worth it, man.
Yeah,
too much work. It's too much work.
Yeah.
Who needs it?
And then you have to take care of all the stuff and all these things. It's just like, yeah. Do you feel like, do you have a stronger need in your heart now for like a connection with like a romantic partner and somebody you want to settle down with all the things you've seen and what you've,
That's what I've been kind of struggling with recently, because absolutely, I want that, but at the same point, it's like I'm realizing I don't think I'm gonna, like, I don't know if I'm gonna ever have that. I'm being all dramatic, but it's like, because it's a very, to be with me is fucking demanding. I do the mortuary shit, so I have all that kind of trauma that I try not to unload on the person, but sometimes fucking shit kind of gets to you. But then also on top of that, doing the comedy, like, so I'm gone a lot of the time. So it's like, dude, like, it's not an easy thing. So it's like I've chose my life, and it's kind of gotten me to where I am now. Now I'm coming to terms with it, and it's like, if I don't have something with somebody, then it wasn't meant to be. I have something with a lot of friends. I have a lot of support systems. So it's like, for that I'm grateful for, because you can't help but always look back at the past and think like, oh man, those are the good old days. But it's like, but you're living you have an opportunity to make these days that you're in currently to be good. You just got to pull yourself out of that mentality of trying to reminisce. Like, no, dude, enjoy this and just do what you can to find your happiness, your inner happiness. Because that's one thing, even if you have relationships, things fail. The only thing you'll always have for sure is yourself. So just find your inner happiness, whatever it is to do that, and just embrace that, dude. Because if you don't have your happiness, then it's like, well, then you don't have, then what's it all for,
That's true. And happiness is a choice, as they say, right?
Yeah.
Like the more I live my life, the more I go, why do I have to wait for this thing to be happy? You know, and I'm not always thinking like that because I forget and I'm like, I'm sad. I fucking hate this. I did this. But then it's like, if you just stop and go, you can decide to be happy right now.
Yeah.
You don't have to be fucking making 6 figures or be a millionaire until you can be happy. Because that is a road that leads to suicide and like fucking self-doubt and self-hatred and all that, you know?
Yeah. Either that or millions of dollars.
I know.
You keep grinding.
Right? And at least you die with the millions of dollars alone. Sad.
But you got the $1 million.
Yeah, you got the $1 million and you got Andrew Tate on the YouTube playing on repeat. And all you hear is sparkling water. Sparkling water. And that's the last word you ever hear.
Right? Fucking the sparkling water.
Fucking goddamn sparkling water. Yeah. Okay, so do you have any are there any like thoughts you've had that you've been wanting to just kind of get out there? It could be anything. Like just something that's been kind of like in your heart for whatever it may be. Doesn't matter if it's like happy, sad, whatever.
I think we covered a lot of it here. Again, just enjoy every moment we have, dude, because we don't fucking know what's going to happen in the future, man. Be grateful for those people that are around you that care about you and love you. Let them know you love them. Even if it's gay, who cares, bro? Go balls deep with it, you know?
Literally goes go balls deep in the cheeks.
But just be grateful for the life that you have, man, because it can be taken at any moment, dude. So just be and try to end any petty grievances, you know, like little things like that. It's like, dude, like be at peace with yourself and with others, because we don't know, you know, if you're going to have that opportunity again in the future. You know, you never know.
Damn, this was the most on point, straight to the point, no fluff podcast episode I've had.
Oh, well.
Like it's literally, because most of them are like an hour and a half, but this is like an hour flat, but it was like nonstop, bop, 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 like bangers.
Yeah. No, thank you, man. That's what I'm always said. I always want to talk about this sort of thing because it gets people to just realize it. Just hopefully, if it opens, dude, if your audience hears this and they fucking open someone's eyes, cool. If that, I don't care. I helped you kind of those connections, man. That's what I'm there for.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were trying to be racist because I'm Asian. You know, if you got to open those, you know, if you need to open, you know, you should open those eyes a little bit further. I could actually see you doing like a TED Talk or something important, like speaking on these things, because who knows better than somebody who directly deals with death. I could really see that, man.
Oh, thank you, man.
That could be another thing.
That'd be awesome. Whatever I can do to just get people to just realize how finite all this is, man. I'm always for it, man. Yeah.
Finiteness.
Yeah.
Guys, don't take things so seriously. I need to listen to this because I had a falling out with somebody recently, but I don't hate the guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't hate me. Just things happen. But also, it's like friendships aren't always meant to last forever. Like that's also a thing. And it doesn't mean that it wasn't beautiful or cool when it was there. It's just people can grow apart.
Yeah.
Like, that's really it is. It's not always like a personal thing. It's just shit happens, you know?
Yeah.
So I think we talked about what we needed to talk about here, and I got a lot out of this actually. So I appreciate you coming here and sharing these things, man. Because you know, there was a few times where I was like, dude, I think I might want to cry if I talk about this or if I go. So I was a little like worried about that, only because like, you know, it's just like some stupid. You know how it is with guys with like, I don't want to feel sad or whatever.
But bro, now you have to allow those feelings to come when they come. But I hear you, man. I know that feeling for sure, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, all right. You want to plug in your socials or anything?
You can follow me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Juan Cias, JUANCIAS. You can follow me on there. I got shows and stuff. I'll let you guys know about that sort of stuff. So.
Yeah, guys, you heard it from the man himself. Don't take everything personally. Life is finite, and titties only are nice when they're alive. So, all right, guys, this has been the Setbreaker Podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you